T88, Jack Nicholson finally tells the truth about Robin Williams. Jack Nicholson was born John Joseph Nicholson on April 22, 1937 in Neptune City, New Jersey. From the very beginning, his life had weird things happen because he grew up thinking that his grandma was his mom and that his real mom was his sister. He found out the truth much later when he was a grown-up. This early crazy twist in his life story has often been called something that sounds like a Hollywood movie, showing how complicated and deep Nicholson would later make his movie characters. He grew up in a working family, and Nicholson loved acting and telling stories from when he was very young, which made him want to become an actor when he got older. Getting into Hollywood was not fancy or easy. He started working as a helper at MGM's cartoon studio before slowly getting acting jobs. Often having a hard time for years before he got his big break, Nicholson's career started in the late 1950s when he got small parts in cheap movies often made by Roger Corman. Even though these early jobs didn't make him famous right away, they gave him the chance to learn how to act, figure out his style, and learn to keep trying in a business that often wants you to keep going more than being successful right away. His big break came in 1969 with Easy Rider, where he played the drunk lawyer George Hanson and got his first Oscar nomination. That role made him famous and started a bunch of amazing performances that would be important for the next 40 years of movies. All through the 1970s, Nicholson became known as a really powerful actor. His role in 5 Easy Pieces in 1970 showed how good he was at playing unhappy, complicated characters who had trouble with who they were and feeling left out. In The Last Detail in 1973, he gave a raw emotional performance that was both funny and really touching. His part as Randall McMurphy in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 1975 is still one of the best performances in movie history, and it won him his first Academy Award for Best Actor. Nicholson's acting as McMurphy, a rebel who stood up against the mean Nurse Ratched, caught the spirit of the 1970s counterculture and made him a cultural icon. The 1980s brought another important role with Stanley Kubrick's scary horror masterpiece, The Shining in 1980. Nicholson's terrifying but fascinating acting as Jack Torrance, a writer going crazy, became something everyone remembers in pop culture. Lines like "Here's Johnny" have been said by people for generations, proving how Nicholson could bring unforgettable energy to the screen. In terms of endearment in 1983, he showed his softer side, getting another Academy Award for playing Garrett Breedlove, a charming retired astronaut. This ability to play both craziness and kindness with equal skill made him stand out as one of the most versatile actors of his time. The 1989 release of Batman, where Nicholson played the Joker, was another big moment. His bigger-than-life, evil, but playful performance not only amazed audiences all over the world, but also set a standard for comic book bad guys on screen. Nicholson's Joker was so powerful that it influenced generations of actors who later played the role. His ability to put charm, danger, and humor into one character showed once again how amazing his acting skills were. In the 1990s and early 2000s, Nicholson kept giving unforgettable performances. In A Few Good Men in 1992, his acting as Colonel Nathan R. Jessup gave movies one of its most famous lines, "You can't handle the truth." The intensity and authority he brought to the role showed his unmatched ability to take over the screen. After showing his versatility in movies like Mars Attacks in 1996, the funny sci-fi comedy where Nicholson managed to both scare and amuse audiences, and Hoffa in 1992, where he dove into the role of the notorious labor leader Jimmy Hoffa, as well as Man Trouble, another project that highlighted his ability to bring complicated, layered characters to life. Jack Nicholson entered what many critics call the golden stretch of his later career. In 1997, he amazed the world once again with his unforgettable performance in James L. Brooks's romantic comedy drama As Good as It Gets. Starring opposite Helen Hunt, Nicholson played Melvin Udall, a grouchy, obsessive-compulsive novelist whose sharp wit and stubborn weirdness slowly give way to moments of tenderness. His detailed performance, balancing humor with being vulnerable, not only amazed audiences, but also won him an Academy Award for Best Actor, proving that even decades into his career, Nicholson could still reinvent himself and surprise the world. As the new millennium began, Nicholson kept showing his incredible range and staying power. In 2002, he took on the role of Warren Schmidt in About Schmidt, a sad comedy that saw him lose his trademark charm to play a lonely, recently retired widower dealing with the emptiness of his later years. Critics praised the performance as one of the most understated and powerful of his career, showing that Nicholson could be great not only in flashy, bigger-than-life roles, but also in quiet, deeply human stories. Just a year later, in 2003, he reminded fans of his comedic genius when he teamed up with Adam Sandler in the box office hit Anger Management. Nicholson's acting as the unusual, wild-eyed therapist Dr. Buddy Riddle brought an unpredictable energy to the film and left audiences laughing while making his reputation stronger as an actor who could rule any type of movie. But Nicholson wasn't finished yet. In 2006, he returned to the darker side of his acting, taking on the scary role of Frank Costello, a ruthless Irish mob boss in Martin Scorsese's crime epic The Departed. Acting alongside Hollywood heavyweights Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio, Nicholson stole scenes with his evil unpredictability, creating one of the most memorable villains of modern movies. His performance was so powerful and haunting that it earned him a Golden Globe nomination, reminding the industry once again why he stood among the greatest actors of all time. The very next year, Nicholson surprised audiences again, this time in a more heartwarming and thoughtful light. In 2007, he co-starred with Morgan Freeman in The Bucket List, a moving comedy drama about two terminally ill men who set out on a globe-trotting adventure to fulfill their life's dreams before kicking the bucket. Nicholson's role as the wealthy but emotionally guarded Edward Cole allowed him to explore themes of death, friendship, and redemption, striking a balance between wit and sadness. The film became a cultural touchstone, inspiring millions with its message about living life to the fullest and further cemented Nicholson's legacy as an actor who could touch audiences across generations. Jack Nicholson's personal life has long fascinated the public almost as much as his legendary acting career. His first and only marriage was to actress Sandra Knight in 1962. The time. Nicholson was a rising star in Hollywood, still building his career. While Knight was known for her appearances in films such as Frankenstein's Daughter in 1958, their marriage, though marked by youthful energy and Hollywood glamour, was not meant to last forever. After 6 years together, the couple decided to split up, officially getting divorced in 1968. Despite the end of their marriage, they shared a daughter, Jennifer Nicholson. Born in 1963, Jennifer grew up mostly away from the spotlight, but she eventually followed her own creative path, becoming a fashion designer. Nicholson always stayed a supportive father, and even though his marriage to Sandra Knight ended, their bond through their daughter stayed an important part of his life. After his divorce, Jack Nicholson never got married again, but he became known for a series of high-profile and often stormy relationships that kept him firmly in the spotlight. One of his early and well-documented romances was with actress Susan Ansbach, whom he met in the early 1970s. Their relationship was complicated and passionate, showing Nicholson's free-spirited and unconventional lifestyle during that time. Although their romance eventually came to an end, Ansbach later claimed that Nicholson was the father of her son, Caleb Goddard. Born in 1970, Nicholson did not publicly say that Caleb was his child, which led to years of guessing and tension, making the mystery around his personal life even bigger. Maybe Nicholson's most famous and lasting relationship was with actress Angelica Huston, daughter of legendary director John Huston. Their romance began in 1973 and lasted on and off for nearly 17 years. During this time, they became one of Hollywood's most talked-about couples, admired for their charm and talent, but also famous for their rocky relationship. Huston often described Nicholson as magnetic, unpredictable, and endlessly charming, but also hard to pin down. Their love affair went through many ups and downs, but ultimately ended in heartbreak for Huston when Nicholson's cheating became too much to handle. Still, even after their breakup, the two kept mutual respect and a lasting love for one another, and Huston has often spoken openly about how deeply Nicholson influenced her life. In the 1980s, Nicholson also had a relationship with Danish model Winnie Hallman. Their time together may not have been as publicly watched as his romance with Huston, but it was important in Nicholson's personal life because it resulted in the birth of a daughter, Honey Hallman. Honey grew up mostly outside of Hollywood, living in Denmark with her mother, away from the glitz and chaos of Nicholson's world. While Nicholson did not have a traditional family structure, he admitted his responsibility as a father and kept a connection with Honey throughout her life. By 1989, Nicholson entered into another high-profile romance, this time with actress Rebecca Broussard. Their relationship marked a new chapter for him as it was one of his longest and most committed partnerships. Nicholson and Broussard were together for 5 years, during which time they welcomed 2 children, a daughter Lorraine, born in 1990, and a son Raymond, born in 1992. Unlike some of his other relationships, Nicholson was very present as a father during this time, often photographed spending time with his young children. Lorraine eventually pursued a career in acting, appearing in films like Soul Surfer in 2011, while Raymond grew up to become an actor as well, continuing the family's creative legacy. Even after their romantic relationship ended in 1994, Nicholson and Broussard remained committed to raising their children together, which showed the maturity and love that had existed between them. Later in the 1990s, Nicholson's name was romantically linked to actress Lara Flynn Boyle, who was then gaining fame from her role on Twin Peaks and other projects. Their relationship, though brief, got attention because of their noticeable age difference and Nicholson's reputation as a Hollywood playboy. Reports suggested that their romance was intense but short-lived, ending after only a few years. Still, it further cemented Nicholson's image as a man who, even well into middle age, continued to be linked to glamorous women and remained a captivating figure in Hollywood's social scene. At 88 years old, Jack Nicholson has reached a point in his life where he looks back on his career and friendships with a clarity that only age and thinking can bring. For decades, Nicholson was known as one of Hollywood's most mysterious figures, always witty, sharp, and unpredictable both on and off the screen. Yet, in a recent private conversation, he opened up about his late friend Robin Williams in a way he had rarely done before. His words carried the weight of both admiration and sadness, and for those who loved Williams, they offered a window into the deep respect one legend had for another. Robin was like lightning in a bottle, Nicholson said, pausing before he spoke as though carefully choosing his words. You never knew what direction he'd go in, but you always knew it would be brilliant. For Nicholson, who had built a career on intensity and razor-sharp performances, Williams represented a kind of artistic freedom that very few could master. Their paths crossed many times throughout their years in Hollywood, both socially and professionally, and Nicholson remembered how Williams's presence could change the entire energy of a room. He could make a room full of people go from silence to tears of laughter in seconds, Nicholson said. And I don't think the world will ever see that kind of raw magic again. Nicholson went further, admitting that Williams' humor was only one layer of who he was. People saw Robin as this whirlwind of comedy, but he was one of the most thoughtful men I ever knew. He felt things deeply, maybe too deeply at times. That was both his gift and his burden. In saying this, Nicholson was pointing to the two sides that defined Williams, his unmatched ability to give joy to others while privately struggling with his own battles. Nicholson confessed that he often saw in Williams a sensitivity that others missed. There was a tenderness in him, Nicholson explained, and you could see it in his eyes, even when he was making you laugh until your stomach hurt. The two actors were different in many ways. Nicholson with his famous grin and often menacing screen presence, and Williams with his boundless energy and improvisational genius. Yet they shared a bond built on mutual respect. Nicholson revealed that whenever they spent time together, there was always laughter, but there was also sincerity. He'd sit down with you, look you straight in the eye, and listen. Robin really listened, and that's a rare quality in this business, Nicholson said softly. He didn't care about the Hollywood games. He cared about people. Nicholson also talked about the pain of losing Williams in 2014, a loss that shook Hollywood and fans around the globe. When Robin left us, it was like a light went out in the world, Nicholson thought back, his voice heavy with emotion. I remember hearing the news and just sitting there not quite believing it. It felt impossible that someone who gave so much life could be gone. He admitted that Williams's passing reminded him of how fragile even the brightest spirits can be. We think these people are larger than life, but they're human, just like the rest of us. And sometimes being human is the hardest thing. Nicholson finished his thoughts with words that showed how much Williams had meant to him personally. Robin had this generosity of spirit. He gave everything he had every time, whether it was on stage, in a movie, or just talking to a friend. That's what I'll always carry with me. He wasn't just funny. He was extraordinary. For Nicholson, speaking so openly about his friend was a way of honoring a man whose talent and humanity left a mark that will never be erased, not only on audiences, but also on his peers. As Jack Nicholson sits in the twilight of his own remarkable life and career, his memories of Robin Williams remain clear, a reminder of the rare connection to Hollywood giants shared. And in finally telling the truth about his friend, Nicholson allowed the world to see not only the depth of Williams' artistry, but also the deep impact he had on those who truly knew him.